Hi, it's Anastasia Forrest with the Forrest team at eXp Realty. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you all about closing day. So, what happens on closing day? What is closing day? I think it's the most wonderful day ever. And my buyers usually do as well. There's a lot to be happy about on closing day. It means that we've made it to the end of a transaction. We've gotten through, if it was mortgaged, we have gotten through the loan approval, appraisal, of course, inspections, and we're at the finish line. So the birds are chirping, the sun is shining, people are smiling. It's a wonderful day. But what exactly happens? I'm going to go over all of that, and I'm also going to go over some of the commonly asked questions that I get from my clients about closing day. So here we go. So prior to closing day, your realtor will have received a copy of the settlement statement or closing disclosure from the title company. And this statement includes a line by line breakdown of all of the debits and credits involved in that particular transaction. For example, the very first one is going to be the sales price of the property, being a debit to the buyer, credit to the seller. And it goes down row by row, covering title fees, lender fees, government fees, a variety of different fees, HOA fees. Anyway, so prior to closing, you'll have received this statement, you'll have gone over it, your realtor will have gone over it, reviewed it, and at the very bottom, there is a number, a cash figure that is your cash to close. Those funds will be transferred by you ahead of time, ideally at least a day prior to closing, and you'll wire those funds to the title company. So, what this does is it gets everything in place so that when you go in to sign your paperwork on closing day, the funds are basically already there, the funds from you. Now, the lender funds, those come from the lender, and that's a different story. But as far as the funds from you, your down payment, your cash to close, that should be wired the day before. And it just makes everything go much more smoothly. Okay, true story. And this is kind of funny. But I had a buyer ask me if she could bring cash to the closing table for her cash to close, like literal cash. And this was not a small amount of money. This was thousands of dollars, probably over, yeah, like probably $12,000. So I told her I would ask because I'm all about finding out information I don't know. And nobody had ever asked me that before. It didn't seem like a realistic scenario, but hey, who am I to say no? Maybe she could. So I called the title company and I spoke with the person that answered the phone, and that person broke out laughing. She said, "I'm just picturing a black suitcase filled with cash." Um, but she offered to look into it as well. At the end, they recommended no, she should wire her funds. So because it's just not practical to move large sums of physical money on closing day. Usually in Florida, closings are handled by title companies, though once in a while there are legal companies like lawyer, attorney offices where closings may take place. But this is a specialty and it is something that is handled by a escrow agent or a title agent usually. The seller may or may not be there. Sometimes the seller will be there with their agent, and they'll sign at the same time as you. But at other times, the seller may have already signed on the previous day or earlier in the week. So sometimes that does happen separately. Now, what you'll want to have with you on closing day is you're going to want to have your driver's license. That's important. I also recommend bringing a checkbook just in case. You probably aren't going to need it as the buyer, but just in case, it doesn't hurt to have it along with you. So you're going to sit down next to probably usually the closing agent will sit at the head of the table and the buyers will sit really like right next to them, because the closing agent is going to be handing you a lot of documents. They're going to be sliding them on over to you and talking you through them. And your realtor will be there as well, also to go over anything with you. But for the most part, this is handled by the title agent. They are the star of the show. You're going to be signing a stack of documents. The majority of the documents are probably going to be your lender related documents from the mortgage company. There's the mortgage note, there is the mortgage agreement. You'll also be signing some tax related documents and various disclosures. At closing, the property title and ownership of the property will get transferred to you. So once everybody is finished signing and the funds have been distributed, and this can take a minute, side note, when you are waiting on some funds to come in from the lender, this can take some time. So basically, what happens after the lender related documents are signed is the closing agent will leave the room and go and fax them over to the mortgage company. And then we have to wait. We have to wait for the mortgage funds to come in. Some companies are very, very fast. I've had times where there have been delays. It does happen, but usually it doesn't take very long, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Then the closing agent will return and you're going to officially take title. You're going to get the deed is going to be transferred to you, and you are the official owner of that property. And at that time, the keys to the property will be handed over to you, along with any other necessary access devices. Sometimes people will bring the like garage door opener or the mailbox key, or they otherwise will leave it on, say, the kitchen counter or something like that of the home. But basically, you are now a homeowner and it's time to celebrate. So that is basically closing day in a nutshell. I'm trying to think if there are any other things to think about while you're there. I'd recommend maybe bringing a snack if you like. Often they'll have waters and may provide some snacks to you or candy or something. Usually there's something, but it never hurts to pack a granola bar or something like that, just in case there's a delay. Um, and yeah, it's usually a really happy, fun time, the closing. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions about buying or selling a home, I am always happy to chat. You can click the link below to schedule a time to chat with me. I've also made a complete buyer's guide that goes through every step of the process, and I'm going to include a link to that as well. You can check it out right there. I hope you've enjoyed this and have a wonderful day. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.